Hello, tonight you are about to step into a hidden pocket of time where the modern world quietly fades away into a landscape of eternal stone and soft mountain air. You will discover a forgotten world that shaped the foundation of European history, a place where the ancient earth still whispers its deepest secrets to those who stop to listen closely. You feel the cool, damp breath of the early morning air resting gently on your skin as you stand at the edge of a vast valley. High above you, the jagged peaks of the majestic Alps pierce the darkening sky, while thin layers of pale white mist move silently between the trees. It feels like waking up before the rest of the world has even opened its eyes. The silence here is so deep that you can almost hear the mountains breathing through the heavy forest leaves. If you look closely at the foggy valley below, you might notice that your modern GPS tracker is completely confused by the high mountain ridges. Fortunately, the ancient paths do not require a strong satellite signal or a monthly subscription. So, before you get completely comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel, but only if you truly enjoy what we're creating here. Where are you listening from tonight? Please share your city and local time in the comments section below so we can connect across the miles. Now, slowly dim the lights. Perhaps turn on a fan, letting the steady hum of the air fill the room. And in that gentle rhythm, we quietly step into tonight's journey together. You look across the spectacular Salzkammergut region, a truly magnificent land meticulously carved out of massive limestone by ancient geological forces over millions of patient years. Deep glacial lakes now rest quietly between the steep mountain walls, their perfectly still waters securely holding the soft memories of a prehistoric world. Underneath these incredibly cold layers of old stone lies a hidden mineral treasure that changed the course of human destiny completely. Great saltwater oceans once covered this entire beautiful European landscape long before the very first humans ever walked upon the earth. As the ancient waters slowly dried up under a primordial sun, massive mineral deposits were trapped deep inside the growing Alpine mountains. It is actually quite comforting to think that the simple white salt on your modern dining table has a much longer historical resume than you ever will. The geological foundation of Central Europe was quietly preparing a magnificent stage for an extraordinary human journey that would begin thousands of years later. You can feel the incredible weight of this deep time as you imagine the slow, heavy movement of ancient prehistoric glaciers. The land itself seems to be resting right now, waiting patiently for the very first brave footsteps of humanity to finally arrive here. This unique combination of pristine alpine nature and continuous human effort has proudly earned the Hallstatt region a permanent place as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Scientists have officially confirmed that human beings have been actively mining salt in these specific mountains for more than 7,000 years. It is a truly breathtaking historical timeline that makes our noisy modern problems feel so beautifully and completely small tonight. You realize that long before the Great Pyramids of Egypt were even designed by ancient architects, early miners were already working deep inside these steep alpine slopes. They carefully carved out their survival from the dark stone, creating a continuous thread of human history that has never been broken. Even today, these grand mountains look exactly as they did to those early, exceptionally brave human travelers of the past. The dark pine forests drape over the steep mountain slopes like a thick green blanket, quietly absorbing every wandering sound into their soft needles. Somewhere high among the branches, a solitary bird sings with a calm, crystal clear voice that drifts gently across the silent valley. The peaceful morning feels untouched by hurry, inviting you to breathe more slowly and imagine leaving every modern distraction behind for a little while. You watch the delicate morning mist slowly drift upward from the surface of the vast alpine lake, revealing water as smooth and flawless as polished glass. Its perfectly still surface reflects the gentle gray-blue colors of the awakening sky so clearly that the horizon quietly fades away, leaving heaven and earth to blend into one peaceful scene. Every quiet detail feels perfectly balanced and timeless, gently inviting peaceful reflection as each slow, steady breath draws you deeper into complete calm. The cool mountain water seems to hold its breath as the first gentle rays of sunlight slowly touch the distant peaks beyond the quiet valley. Almost without noticing, your own breathing becomes slower, settling naturally into the patient rhythm of this ancient European landscape. Here, time never appears to rush forward. Instead, it glides with the quiet elegance of a deep river flowing steadily through broad valleys shaped by countless ages of enduring stone. As the morning unfolds, the light gradually shifts from deep indigo into a gentle silver glow that softly brightens the surrounding mountains. Ancient peaks stand like silent guardians around the peaceful lake, protecting this quiet valley from the restless sounds of the modern world beyond. Within this calm sanctuary, the passing of time is measured only by changing light, drifting clouds, and the steady rhythm of nature itself. A deep sense of calm slowly settles over you as your eyes wander across this timeless alpine landscape, where every mountain, forest, and quiet shoreline seems untouched by the passing centuries. The remarkably fresh air carries the delicate fragrance of damp earth, ancient pine trees, cool stone, and crystal clear water flowing softly through hidden streams. With every gentle breath, your body feels lighter, your thoughts become quieter, and the hurried rhythm of everyday life gradually fades into peaceful stillness and quiet presence. The journey before you will eventually lead into the heart of an ancient Iron Age world, yet it begins in complete silence. You follow the quiet shoreline of a place where history was patiently shaped by salt, stone, flowing water, and countless steady human hands. Above you, the soft gray-blue sky promises a peaceful day filled with quiet discoveries, thoughtful reflection, and stories carried gently through the centuries. Before taking another step, you pause for one final look across the tranquil lake resting beneath the ancient mountains. The perfectly still water remains untouched by wind, reflecting the slowly turning European sky like an endless sheet of crystal glass. Feeling completely relaxed and unhurried, you quietly continue toward the hidden mountainside, ready to discover the gentle mysteries resting beneath the lingering morning mist. You now step away from the misty shore and begin your quiet journey deep into the solid heart of the Alpine slopes. The bright light of the morning slowly fades behind you as you enter the cool, grounding darkness of the ancient mountain shafts. A deep sense of peaceful security surrounds you, as if the massive layers of old stone are shielding you from the chaotic world outside. The air inside the mountain changes completely, becoming crisp, perfectly dry, and filled with a faint, clean scent of natural minerals. You are walking past ancient geological walls that hold the immense weight of over 200 million years of earthly history. Deep beneath these cold, silent layers of stone lie vast deposits of pure white salt, waiting quietly in the absolute darkness of the underground. These beautiful shimmering crystals were formed long ago when a vast primordial ocean slowly evaporated under a hot ancient sun. The shifting earth then folded these precious mineral beds deep into the womb of the Alps, protecting them from the passage of time. It is a strange comfort to realize that this prehistoric seasoning survived the extinction of the dinosaurs just to wait for us. As you move deeper into the tunnels, you are walking through a remarkably well-preserved capsule of early European life. Archaeologists have discovered that the unique, dry, and salty environment inside these mines creates a perfect, natural refrigerator for fragile things. Organic materials that would normally rot away in a few years have survived here completely intact for many centuries. You can still see the clear tool marks left behind on the ancient wooden support beams that hold up the stone ceilings. Perfectly preserved pieces of thick leather backpacks, woven textile clothing, and sturdy hemp ropes lie exactly where they were dropped by workers long ago. It seems the ancient miners were also quite excellent at leaving their laundry on the floor for someone else to find. These rare discoveries provide a brilliant, uninterrupted window into a world that existed nearly 3 millennia before our modern times. While most prehistoric clothing across Europe has turned to dust, the textiles here still reveal their intricate, colorful checkered patterns. You are looking at the actual handiwork of ancient weavers, preserved beautifully by the silent power of the mineral walls. The underground world carries its own steady, comforting rhythm, that has remained unchanged for millions of peaceful years. You can hear the slow, rhythmic sound of single drops of groundwater falling onto the dark stone floors from far above. Each soft click echoes gently through the tunnels, sounding like a steady heartbeat that anchors the deep silence of the space. A faint, cool breeze slips softly through the narrow cracks in the heavy limestone, whispering secrets from the surface world. This absolute darkness acts like a majestic clock without any hands, where minutes and centuries feel completely identical to one another. There are no deadlines down here, no urgent notifications, and absolutely no reason to rush through your calm thoughts. You run your fingers along the smooth, cool rock face, feeling the faint, grainy texture of the ancient salt veins. The deep quiet of the mountain encourages your mind to slow down and match the patient pace of the earth. In this underground sanctuary, the loud worries of everyday life dissolve into the vast, beautiful expanse of geological time. You realize that the silence here is not empty at all. It is a full, rich stillness that invites deep rest. Your eyes easily adjust to the soft, dim glow of your path, finding comfort in the absence of harsh, bright screens. Every breath you take feels remarkably clean, filling your body with a soothing sense of grounded tranquility. It is within this massive, timeless space that the very first human footsteps began to echo a few thousand years ago. These early travelers arrived not as conquering masters, but as small, humble visitors entering a giant cathedral of ancient stone. They brought with them a simple desire to survive, completely unaware that they were starting a brilliant new historical era. You can imagine them carrying small, flickering torches made of resinous pine wood to light their slow way through the dark. The dancing shadows they cast on the salt walls must have looked like ancient spirits dancing in the dark corners. It is quite comforting to think that they probably bumped their heads on the low ceilings just as often as we would today. They worked with immense patience, using simple bronze picks to chip away at the hard, glittering walls of pure wealth. Each small strike of their tools was a soft conversation between human ambition and the ancient, unyielding spirit of the mountain. The sound of their labor became a new melody, blending perfectly with the dripping water. You are walking in the exact footsteps of an extraordinary culture that built its entire wealth upon these hidden white crystals. To these ancient people, salt was not just a simple seasoning. It was the essential gold of the prehistoric European continent. It allowed them to preserve food through the bitter Alpine winters and trade with civilizations thousands of miles away. The sheer scale of the mountains makes the human story feel like a beautifully delicate thread woven into massive stone. You feel a deep respect for these early innovators who looked at a dark mountain and saw an incredible opportunity. They adapted completely to the rhythm of the earth, learning to read the subtle language of the shifting rocks. As you continue along the gentle path, the air remains perfectly still, wrapping around you like a quiet, comforting embrace deep beneath the mountain. Every trace of the modern world has quietly disappeared, replaced by the timeless calm of the ancient salt mine. You feel completely safe, wonderfully balanced, and gently connected to the countless generations whose steady footsteps once echoed softly through these silent passages long ago. The mountain continues to hold its ancient breath, carefully preserving the memory of every worker who patiently carved these quiet tunnels through layers of shining salt. Though centuries have passed, their presence seems to linger peacefully within the enduring silence. The cool stone above shelters every forgotten story, offering a lasting sense of calm that gently eases your thoughts and invites your mind to rest without effort. You pause quietly for a moment, listening to the beautiful stillness that fills the deep salt mines all around you. Somewhere nearby, gentle drops of water fall with an unhurried rhythm, softly marking the peaceful passage of time. Feeling calm and completely at ease, you quietly prepare to discover how this hidden treasure slowly shaped peaceful valleys, gentle villages, and generations of lives beyond the mountain. You slowly emerge from the dark, cool tunnels of the Salt Mountain and find yourself looking down at the beautiful valley below. The bright morning sun has now fully risen, shedding a soft, warm light over a cluster of peaceful wooden villages nestled securely along the edge of the glassy lake. Thin gray smoke drifts gently from thatched roofs into the cool, crystal-clear mountain air. At the quiet wooden docks, long hand-carved timber boats glide gently across the mirror-like surface of the dark lake. Soft ripples spread behind each steady stroke of the oars, briefly disturbing the perfect reflection of the surrounding pine forests. The travelers move peacefully through the morning, accompanied only by birdsong, fresh mountain air, and the unhurried rhythm of nature. You can hear the gentle, familiar sounds of daily village life drifting up to your ears with the soft afternoon breeze. Women stand together in open doorways, their wooden loom shuttles clicking rhythmically as they weave intricate patterns into thick wool garments. Nearby, the rich, earthy scent of roasting grains and freshly baked flatbread reminds you of the timeless comfort found in a simple, home-cooked meal. Archaeological discoveries from these peaceful lakeside settlements reveal a community that was remarkably organized, stable, and closely guided by the changing seasons. In open courtyards, skilled metalworkers tend clay furnaces, carefully melting copper and tin into graceful bronze ornaments and sturdy tools. Their slow, rhythmic hammering drifts gently across the quiet valley beneath the surrounding mountains. Children wander along narrow earthen paths, laughing softly as they follow small pigs and gentle sheep grazing on the green hillsides. Every member of the community has a quiet purpose, helping prepare valuable salt for distant trading journeys. Even the village dogs rest peacefully in the warm sunlight, content beneath the calm rhythm of another ordinary day. This steady cycle of mining, crafting, farming, and trading continued without major interruption for many prosperous, quiet generations. The people learned to trust the predictable rhythms of the earth, knowing exactly when to harvest their crops and when to gather firewood for winter. Their daily lives were a beautiful masterpiece of balance, proving that true wealth comes from living in absolute harmony with your environment. The remarkable richness of these archaeological discoveries gradually transformed how historians understood early Europe. Fine iron swords, beautifully decorated pottery, elegant ornaments, and countless everyday objects revealed a sophisticated society unlike earlier assumptions. Because of these extraordinary findings, scholars name this influential period of the European Iron Age the Hallstatt culture, dating from approximately 800 to 450 BC. This glorious era represents a massive leap forward in human technology, where the widespread use of iron completely transformed everyday life and work. Yet, despite their advanced metallurgy and international trade networks, these people chose to keep their homes modest, tucked away between the water and stone. They possessed a grand continental reputation, but they preferred the quiet simplicity of their secluded, peaceful mountain sanctuary. You walk past a large wooden storehouse where rows of massive, dark ceramic jars are filled to the brim with precious trade goods. Inside, you find rare amber beads from the distant Baltic Sea and fine wine bowls imported all the way from sunny Mediterranean shores. It is fascinating to realize that these ancient Alpine villagers had a much better international trading network than most modern online shopping platforms. The steady accumulation of wealth did not lead to noisy, chaotic cities, but rather to a deeper appreciation for fine, enduring craftsmanship. Every everyday object, from a simple bronze safety pin to a massive iron cooking cauldron, was made with incredible artistic care and attention. The artisans took great pride in engraving delicate geometric lines and small bird figures into the shiny metal surfaces. As the afternoon slowly transitions into a soft golden twilight, the intense labor of the day quietly winds down to a restful halt. The miners return from the high trails, their heavy leather packs finally empty after a long, productive day of delivering salt. They gather around the communal cooking fires, stretching their tired limbs and sharing soft stories of the deep underground world. You watch the first bright stars begin to appear in the darkening sky above the massive, silent silhouettes of the Alpine peaks. The air grows noticeably cooler, carrying the fresh, crisp scent of wet pine needles and the damp wood of the lakeside docks. A profound sense of safety and complete contentment settles over the entire village as the night begins. Inside the cozy timber houses, the bright orange glow of the hearth fires flickers gently through the small open windows. These warm, dancing lights reflect beautifully across the dark, polished surface of the lake, looking like fallen stars floating on the water. The entire scene feels perfectly composed, a timeless portrait of human comfort tucked deeply inside the grand majesty of nature. The soft murmur of human voices murmuring low lullabies and old legends blends perfectly with the gentle lapping of the small lake waves. You can feel the heavy weight of the modern world lifting entirely from your mind as you witness this peaceful evening routine. Here, the passage of time is a comforting friend, not a stressful enemy chasing you through a busy day. The village dogs find comfortable spots near the warm ashes of the fires, curling up tightly for a long night of sleep. The heavy wooden doors are gently barred against the mountain chill, sealing in the warmth and the quiet love of family life. Everything is exactly where it belongs, resting securely under the watchful eyes of the ancient stone giants. You take a deep, slow breath of the midnight air, feeling completely anchored in the profound stillness of this historic Alpine valley. The simple lifestyle of the Hallstatt people reminds us that true security is built on community, patience, and a deep respect for the earth. Your thoughts become beautifully soft, drifting along with the slow movement of the smoke above the roofs. The dark water of the lake remains perfectly calm, absorbing the last faint whispers of the village before it falls into total sleep. The entire valley has wrapped itself in a thick blanket of peaceful, undisturbed night, waiting patiently for the distant morning sun. You feel entirely relaxed, your mind floating softly on the quiet surface of this ancient European memory. The fires slowly burn down to a soft, glowing red ash, casting a gentle, protective warmth over the sleeping wooden homes. The quiet spirit of the Hallstatt culture continues to live on in the very soil beneath your feet, breathing softly in the dark. You are ready to follow their ancient trade paths as they extend out into the wider world tomorrow. You step onto a narrow dirt path worn smooth by countless footsteps over many generations. It follows the gentle curves of mountain rivers, leaving the quiet Alpine valley behind. This ancient trail forms part of a vast prehistoric network connecting the Alps with the Danube, northern Italy, and the Balkan lands, where people and precious goods moved peacefully through the changing seasons. During the mild days of spring, long caravans of traders and sturdy pack horses travel steadily along these rocky mountain paths. They carry valuable blocks of Hallstatt salt, copper ingots, iron bars, and glowing amber gathered from distant northern shores. Their quiet footsteps blend naturally with birdsong, flowing streams, and the slow rhythm of the surrounding landscape. The movement of these valuable goods follows the patient rhythm of nature itself. Summer opens the high mountain passes, allowing merchants, ideas, languages, and new skills to travel gently across Central Europe. Every peaceful valley becomes a welcoming resting place where travelers pause beside warm fires, exchange stories, and prepare quietly for the next stage of their journey. Archaeological excavations inside the great Hallstatt burial mounds reveal remarkable evidence of these far-reaching connections. Researchers have uncovered elegant Etruscan bronze vessels, finely crafted Greek pottery, colorful glass beads, and other Mediterranean treasures resting quietly beneath the earth. These discoveries show that cultural exchange flourished across Europe much earlier than historians once believed. These beautiful imported objects suggest that the Hallstatt people were far more connected than their remote mountain homes might first appear. They exchanged their valuable salt for fine craftsmanship, arriving from distant southern lands, creating lasting relationships through peaceful trade. Even thousands of years ago, people appreciated beautiful objects that brought a little elegance into everyday life. You can almost imagine the quiet satisfaction of a Hallstatt leader lifting a finely engraved Italian bronze cup during a peaceful village gathering. These imported treasures were far more than beautiful ornaments. They reflected lasting friendships, mutual respect, and the gentle exchange of ideas between distant communities separated by mountains, forests, and long journeys across the heart of ancient Europe. During this period of the Iron Age, influence often grew through successful trade rather than constant conflict. Communities prospered by protecting mountain passes, maintaining safe river crossings, and ensuring valuable goods continued moving steadily across the landscape. Careful planning, trusted relationships, and reliable trade networks quietly shaped prosperity, allowing people from many regions to flourish together over generations. By establishing secure trading posts along the major rivers, the Hallstatt chiefs created a highly stable environment where art, craftsmanship, and agriculture could flourish together. They understood that a well-fed, prosperous merchant was much more valuable to the community than a defeated enemy lying on a distant battlefield. This intelligent approach to leadership allowed their unique culture to expand its peaceful influence across vast areas of Central Europe. You walk beneath the shade of ancient oak trees that have stood guard over this trade path for many centuries, their thick roots anchoring the historic soil. The air is filled with the gentle, soothing sound of wind rustling through the canopy and the distant hum of a flowing mountain stream. In this quiet forest sanctuary, timeless peace gently replaces the hurried rhythm of modern life. Every step you take along this historic path connects you directly to the thousands of forgotten travelers who walked here so long ago. They faced the same steep hills, enjoyed the same refreshing river water, and looked up at the very same stars when night fell. This shared human experience creates a beautiful, comforting bridge that makes the ancient past feel incredibly close to your own heart. As the long afternoon slowly begins to wane, a soft purple shadow stretches across the rolling hills and the dense forest floor. The busy trading caravans have already moved further down the valley, their distant voices completely fading into the grand, peaceful silence of the natural world. The entire landscape seems to be settling down for a long, well-deserved rest after a season of incredible continental activity. A gentle, cool mist begins to rise from the damp earth, slowly blurring the clear borders of the winding trail before you. The narrow path seems to dissolve into the dark green texture of the forest, hiding its historic secrets from the casual observer. It is a beautiful reminder that nature always reclaims its space, wrapping the achievements of mankind in a soft, protective embrace of silence. You pause for a long moment to absorb the absolute tranquility of this old European transit corridor, feeling completely at peace with your surroundings. The air is fresh and clean, carrying the crisp scent of wild pine, damp moss, and the cold stone of the nearby riverbeds. Your mind feels beautifully still, entirely free from the noisy clutter and heavy demands of the modern digital world. The slow shifting of the daylight reminds you that change in this ancient world always arrived with incredible patience and grace. There were no sudden revolutions or jarring transitions, only the quiet, steady accumulation of new experiences, better tools, and deeper human connections. The Hallstatt culture was gently preparing the ground for the next great chapters of human history to unfold across the continent. You can hear the soft, rhythmic clicking of a solitary woodpecker somewhere deep within the darkening woods, its steady labor echoing like a small clock. The world is transitioning into a state of quiet rest, inviting you to let go of your lingering worries and embrace the night. Everything around you is perfectly balanced, safe, and tucked away under a wide, starlit sky. The ancient paths may hide beneath the moss and the fallen leaves, but the incredible journey of human connection they enabled continues to endure. The spirit of these early traders lives on in the very geography of Europe, a quiet testament to our eternal desire to explore and connect. You feel deeply comforted by this lasting continuity, your thoughts drifting as softly as the evening fog. The dense forest wraps itself in a heavy mantle of deep, restful night, sealing the old trade route in absolute peace. The giant trees stand like wise old friends, keeping a gentle watch over the historic ground as the world falls fast asleep. You feel entirely relaxed, your breath perfectly synchronized with the slow, steady rhythm of the sleeping earth. You take one final deep breath of the cool evening air before you let your thoughts rest completely in the darkness. The winding path ahead is peaceful and secure, waiting silently for the slow wheels of time to bring tomorrow's quiet changes. You are completely ready to close your eyes, feeling deeply anchored in the gentle flow of this ancient European story. The Hallstatt communities expanded as quietly as a deep river slowly changing its course across a broad plain. Generation after generation, families living beside the Alpine lakes welcomed new children, and small villages gradually spread into the fertile valleys. Their peaceful growth was guided not by conquest, but by the simple need for farmland, shelter, and a secure future. As the population increased, so did the demand for stronger, more reliable tools throughout Central Europe. Farmers, woodcutters, and builders sought materials that could improve everyday work and replace softer bronze equipment. The steady adoption of iron reflected practical needs, allowing ordinary life to become more efficient while communities quietly continued their patient rhythm of seasonal labor. The widespread use of iron gradually transformed agriculture across much of Europe. Strong iron plowshares cut through heavy valley soils with remarkable ease, opening fertile fields that had once been difficult to cultivate. Harvests became more dependable, creating greater stability for growing communities and providing the quiet foundation upon which villages could continue to flourish through many peaceful generations. With durable iron axes and tools, skilled builders worked more efficiently to raise stronger homes, larger granaries, and safer wooden bridges across mountain streams. Blacksmith workshops became important gathering places where raw ore was patiently shaped into practical tools for farming, woodworking, and daily crafts. The gentle rhythm of hammer striking iron echoed softly through the valley with reassuring familiarity. Iron also reshaped regional trade by making durable tools available to far more people than before. Because iron ore was found in many parts of Europe, communities relied less on distant supplies of copper and tin. Local craftsmen could produce dependable equipment close to home, strengthening villages through practical knowledge, shared skills, and steady cooperation between neighboring settlements. Trade along the great rivers followed the quiet rhythm of the changing seasons. Wooden barges carried iron downstream while returning with wool, pottery, dried fish, and other useful goods from neighboring regions. These peaceful exchanges strengthened lasting friendships between distant communities, weaving together a broad network of shared traditions, practical knowledge, and mutual support across Central Europe. To oversee expanding trade routes, many Hallstatt leaders established impressive hilltop settlements overlooking the surrounding valleys. Modern archaeologists call these fortified centers Fürstensitze, built on high ridges with wide views of rivers, roads, and mountain passes. From these peaceful heights, leaders could quietly observe merchants and travelers moving steadily through the landscape below. These elevated settlements became important centers of regional life, linking nearby farming villages through trade, leadership, and shared traditions. Strong wooden palisades and broad earthen walls surrounded the communities, reflecting careful planning and lasting stability. High above the valleys, these quiet hill forts offered wide horizons where daily life unfolded with a calm sense of order. You stand upon one of these ancient, grassy hilltops, feeling the cool breeze drift gently across your face as the valley stretches peacefully below. The distant river carries quiet echoes of countless forgotten journeys that slowly connected communities across early Europe. In this silent landscape, the hurried concerns of modern life seem to dissolve into the steady passage of time. The air feels wonderfully fresh, carrying the gentle fragrance of wild thyme, damp pine needles, and meadow grass warmed by fading sunlight. As long shadows slowly extend across the hills, your breathing naturally becomes slower and calmer. History here unfolds with quiet grace, moving as gently as a great wheel turning steadily through the centuries without a sound. Down in the fertile plains, you can see the faint outlines of the ancient fields where generations of farmers spent their days working in complete harmony with the earth. They understood that the soil requires patience, care, and rest, treating the land as a generous partner rather than a resource to be rapidly depleted. This profound wisdom allowed their communities to thrive securely for many centuries without ever destroying their natural environment. As golden sunlight slowly fades into gentle twilight, the peaceful river valley quietly settles into the calm rhythm of evening. Blacksmiths let their furnaces cool, boatmen secure their wooden vessels along the silent docks, and families gather inside warm timber homes. A deep blanket of stillness gradually covers the landscape, inviting rest and gently closing another tranquil day. While human beings continue to modify the landscape by clearing small patches of land for fields and building homes, the ancient forests keep growing silently in the background. The massive oak, beech, and pine trees adapt beautifully to these subtle changes, extending their deep roots through the rich historic soil and reclaiming forgotten paths. Nature remains the true, eternal master of this landscape, wrapping the modest works of mankind in a vast, protective cloak of green. You can hear the soft, rhythmic hooting of an old owl echoing from the deep woods, its calm voice welcoming the arrival of the starry night. The world is moving into a state of beautiful, undisturbed stillness that invites your own thoughts to slow down and rest completely. Everything around you is perfectly safe, secure, and nestled deeply within the enduring embrace of this ancient European river valley. The dark river waters continue their slow, silent journey toward the distant sea, carrying the reflections of the first bright evening stars on their glossy surface. The flow of time down here feels completely unhurried, a gentle reminder that the grandest historical changes always occur with immense patience and quiet grace. You feel deeply comforted by this slow pace, letting go of any lingering stresses from your modern day. The memory of the Hallstatt innovators lives on in the very shape of these valleys, a quiet legacy of a people who built a prosperous world with iron and wood. They left their marks not in destructive monuments, but in the fertile fields and the ancient paths that we can still trace across the continent today. This beautiful continuity brings a profound sense of peace and grounding comfort to your relaxing thoughts tonight. The ancient hill forts stand like silent, dark sentinels against the deep indigo sky, guarding the timeless secrets of an empire built on peaceful trade and fine craftsmanship. The families below sleep deeply, their breath completely synchronized with the steady, patient rhythm of the resting earth beneath their wooden floors. You are entirely relaxed, your mind floating softly on the calm current of this historic river story. You take one final deep breath of the cool, refreshing night air before you let yourself drift off into a restful, dreamless sleep. The quiet changes brought by the rivers have settled into a beautiful, permanent state of absolute peace and quiet harmony. You are completely ready to rest, knowing that the ancient landscape will continue its silent, beautiful journey through the dark hours of the night. Um, the peaceful valleys of Central Europe gradually welcomed artistic influences carried from the sunny Mediterranean world. Across the Alpine passes, the metalworking skills and graceful designs of the Etruscans and Greeks quietly inspired Hallstatt craftsmen. This cultural exchange grew through trade and mutual admiration, reflecting a shared appreciation for beauty, balance, and enduring craftsmanship rather than conquest. As trading seasons came and went, local artisans carefully observed the geometric patterns and elegant animal motifs decorating imported southern objects. They blended these ideas with their own traditions, creating a distinctive artistic style unique to Iron Age Europe. Through patient craftsmanship, familiar local forms gradually absorbed new influences carried across mountains by peaceful generations of traders. The winding forest paths carried far more than salt, metal, and everyday goods. They also transported stories, beliefs, artistic traditions, and ideas from distant Mediterranean communities into the quiet Alpine valleys. Bronze vessels, decorated pottery, and fine drinking cups became treasured possessions, gently connecting northern households with the rich cultural world flourishing far beyond the mountains. This remarkable network of exchange appears vividly inside the great Hallstatt burial mounds. Archaeologists have uncovered ceremonial four-wheeled wagons, bronze vessels, imported luxury goods, and finely crafted jewelry resting beside high-ranking individuals. These carefully arranged objects quietly reflect long-distance connections, respected leadership, and the remarkable craftsmanship shared across much of Iron Age Europe. The beautifully constructed wagons reveal the remarkable skill of Iron Age craftsmen and the importance of ceremonial travel. Strong wooden wheels, carefully forged iron fittings, and balanced construction demonstrate impressive engineering for their time. Every detail reflects patience, precision, and thoughtful design, reminding us that people have always valued fine craftsmanship and elegant ways to travel. Around the noble burials, amber beads from the Baltic and Mediterranean coral ornaments rest quietly beneath the earth. Each carefully crafted piece reflects a long journey across rivers, plains, and mountains. Preserved in silence, these treasures still tell gentle stories of friendship, trade, and cultural exchange throughout early Europe. Among the most famous discoveries are the princely burials at Hochdorf and Wix. At Hochdorf, archaeologists uncovered a Celtic leader resting on a magnificent bronze couch beside fine iron weapons and a huge imported bronze cauldron. Um, these remarkable finds reveal the wealth and far-reaching trade connections of the Hallstatt world. Further west, the famous tomb of the Lady of Vix revealed an extraordinary bronze crater, a colossal mixing vessel standing nearly 6 feet tall. This breathtaking masterpiece of ancient Greek craftsmanship represents the single largest bronze vessel ever discovered from the classical world, weighing over 400 pounds. Finding such a grand Mediterranean treasure hidden away in a quiet French valley proves how deeply intertwined these ancient societies had truly become. These spectacular sites indicate that a highly organized, sophisticated social elite had naturally formed within the Hallstatt culture over several prosperous centuries. This rising social structure reflected a mature, stable development of early European civilization, where communities could easily support specialized artisans, merchants, and wise diplomats. Power was maintained not through fear or violence, but through the generous redistribution of rare luxury goods and the careful maintenance of regional peace. The grand feasts hosted by these hilltop princes were vibrant celebrations of communal unity, where exotic wines and local beers were shared in magnificent bronze bowls. These gatherings allowed diverse clans to resolve their minor differences peacefully, strengthen their economic alliances, and enjoy the beautiful fruits of their collective labor. It was a well-ordered world that prioritized the sweet joy of shared hospitality over the bitter destruction of unnecessary territorial conflict. You walk along the empty grassy ridge where the great hill fort of Hochdorf once stood, feeling the cool evening air calm your busy mind completely. The soft, rough rustle of the meadow grass around you sounds like the distant, faded murmur of those ancient, joyful celebrations held so long ago. In this majestic stillness, the heavy, fast-paced demands of your modern weekly schedule fade away into absolute insignificance. The pristine air carries the faint, soothing scent of sweet, wild clover, damp forest moss, and the fresh water of the nearby streams. You can feel your body relaxing completely as you watch the soft silver moonlight cast long, peaceful shadows across the wide historical landscape. The continuous flow of human history feels incredibly smooth down here, like a gentle stream carving its path through the solid mountain rock. Below the hill, the old trade roads lay quiet and still, wrapped in a thick blanket of pale white evening fog. The busy merchant caravans have already departed for the season, heading back to their distant homes before the heavy winter snows close the mountain passes. They leave behind them a landscape deeply changed by their peaceful presence, yet completely resting in the quiet dark of the night. The deep ruts worn into the solid stone paths by the heavy wooden wagon wheels remain as silent, permanent scars upon the beautiful earth. These simple marks serve as a powerful reminder of the thousands of brave steps taken to connect the diverse cultures of our ancient world. They show that human beings have always possessed an innate, powerful desire to reach out, communicate, and share their lives across vast distances. As the deep indigo night fully blankets the European countryside, a profound, lasting tranquility settles over the ancient princely valleys. The birds have fallen silent in the high oak branches, and the wild deer graze peacefully along the quiet edges of the dark forests. The entire world seems to be sleeping deeply, safely tucked away beneath a spectacular dome of brilliant, glittering stars. The memory of the distant kingdoms continues to echo softly through the rolling hills, a gentle legacy of an era built on trade and art. The beautiful bronze vessels and golden ornaments may now rest behind the clear glass of modern museums, but their peaceful spirit remains in the soil. This beautiful continuity brings a wonderful sense of grounding comfort and calm relaxation to your drifting thoughts tonight. The ancient stone structures sleep silently under the watchful gaze of the moon, guarding the timeless secrets of a forgotten European golden age. The families in the valleys below rest securely, their slow, steady breathing matching the natural, patient rhythm of the earth beneath their feet. You feel completely safe, your mind floating effortlessly on the gentle current of this historic cross-cultural journey. You take one final deep breath of the crisp, clean midnight air before you let yourself drop into a deep, restful sleep. The echoes of the ancient kingdoms have softened into a beautiful, quiet lullaby that guides you gently through the silent hours. You are completely at peace, ready to welcome the slow, turning changes that the distant morning sun will eventually bring to this land. The transition from the Hallstatt world to the emerging Latin culture unfolded gradually, like winter giving way to a gentle European spring. Around the 5th century BC, communities across Central Europe slowly embraced new artistic styles and changing social traditions. Rather than a sudden break with the past, this transformation reflected the quiet rhythm of generations adapting naturally to an evolving world together. As the decades passed like water flowing through a peaceful mountain stream, familiar customs blended gently with fresh ideas arriving through expanding trade networks. Skilled craftsmen refined traditional techniques while experimenting with graceful new designs inspired by distant cultures. The old and the new existed side by side, creating a rich artistic language that connected the past with the future without disrupting everyday life. Around warm evening hearths, children learned the patient metalworking skills of their parents and grandparents while adding their own creative touches to familiar traditions. Every generation quietly preserved valuable knowledge, yet welcomed thoughtful change in its own gentle way. Through countless ordinary moments, the cultural legacy of Hallstatt gradually flowed forward into the flourishing world of La Tene. Modern archaeologists view this remarkable historical shift not as an absolute break in the continuous chain of human history, but as a beautiful flowering of an already mature society. The extensive trade networks that the Hallstatt people built so carefully over many centuries continue to hum with quiet activity, bringing prosperity to completely new regional centers of power. Economic life gradually shifts toward the fertile northern and western plains, where new ideas quietly flourish across generations. This exciting transition is marked by a wonderful transformation in European art, where the strict geometric lines of the older style give way to the beautiful flowing curves of classic Celtic design. Artisans begin to decorate their fine bronze mirrors, iron swords, and shiny torques with elegant interlocking swirls and stylized plant forms that seem to move with natural life. This artistic revolution reflects a highly confident, deeply spiritual society that finds immense joy in the organic shapes of the wild natural world. Despite these visible changes in style and geography, the ancient structural foundations of everyday life remain beautifully intact, providing a comforting sense of continuity across the shifting centuries. The local farmers still plant their rich fields using the very same sturdy iron plows, and the brave miners continue to harvest salt from the deep Alpine tunnels. Though power may shift from one hill to another, the human desire for stability, purpose, and peaceful daily life quietly endures. Many cherished Hallstatt traditions continue to flourish among the Celtic communities that gradually spread across much of Central Europe. Communal feasts, respect for experienced elders, skilled metalworking, and long-established trading customs remained important parts of daily life. Rather than fading away, these familiar practices quietly adapted to changing times, preserving the wisdom of earlier generations while welcoming new influences with remarkable continuity and lasting cultural strength. The ancient past never truly disappeared. Instead, it slowly transformed as each generation added fresh ideas to traditions inherited from those before them. New artistic styles, beliefs, and social customs blended naturally with older foundations, creating a culture that honored memory while embracing change. Like a carefully woven cloak, history remained whole because every new thread was gently joined to those already in place. You walk through a quiet mountain pasture where the old paths of these two great eras naturally cross one another, feeling the cool evening wind ease your mind. The soft rustle of the leaves overhead seems to whisper of the thousands of peaceful transitions that have shaped this fertile historic ground over the long centuries. In this majestic stillness, the heavy, urgent demands of your modern digital calendar dissolve into absolute peace. The pristine alpine air carries the soothing, fresh scent of damp forest pine, wild chamomile flowers, and the cool water of the hidden springs. You can feel your entire body relaxing completely as you watch the soft silver twilight cast a gentle glow across the rolling hills of the valley. The passage of time feels beautifully comforting down here, like a quiet song sung to a child at the end of a long day. Down in the lowlands, the ancient lakeside villages remain perfectly peaceful, completely undisturbed by the grand historical labels that modern scholars will eventually place upon them. The people living inside the cozy timber homes do not wake up thinking they belong to a brand new archaeological period. They simply focus on their daily chores. They brew their sweet beers, bake their daily bread, and watch the familiar stars appear in the darkening sky. While the famous name of their unique culture silently changes in the history books from Hallstatt to Latene, the deep spirit of the land remains entirely unchanged. The massive limestone mountains stand as silent, eternal witnesses to the slow, beautiful turning of human generations across the vast European continent. They remind us that the names we give to things are temporary, but the earth and our connection to it are truly everlasting. As the dark indigo night fully settles over the peaceful countryside, a profound, lasting tranquility embraces the ancient valleys where history shifted so gently. The birds have nested safely in the high oak branches, and the sheep rest quietly together in the lush green meadows beside the water. The entire world seems to be sleeping deeply, safely tucked away beneath a spectacular dome of brilliant, twinkling stars. The memory of the ancient transition continues to live on in the very soil beneath your feet, a gentle legacy of a world that embraced change with immense grace. The beautiful transformations of the past show us that moving forward does not mean losing where we came from. It simply means growing into our full potential. This beautiful continuity brings a wonderful sense of grounding comfort and calm relaxation to your resting thoughts tonight. The old wooden docks sleep silently under the watchful gaze of the silver moon, guarding the timeless secrets of an era that moved with perfect patience. The families in the valleys below rest securely, their slow, steady breathing matching the natural, patient rhythm of the earth beneath their comfortable beds. You feel completely safe, your mind floating effortlessly on the gentle current of this historic journey of quiet change. You take one final deep breath of the crisp, clean midnight air before you let yourself drop into a deep, restful sleep. The shifting horizons of the ancient world have softened into a beautiful, quiet lullaby that guides you gently through the dark hours of the night. You are completely at peace, ready to welcome the slow, turning changes that the distant morning sun will eventually bring to this eternal land. The great wheel of continental history continues to turn with a heavy, predictable rhythm, bringing dramatic political shifts to the vast landscapes of Central Europe. After the vibrant golden age of the Celtic tribes reaches its natural peak, the powerful armies and organized administrators of the Roman Empire slowly expand their reach northward into the Alpine valleys. Yet beneath the grand stories of marching legions and changing rulers, the quiet daily life of the local people flows on completely undisturbed. For the ordinary families living in the hidden valleys, the arrival of a new empire means very little in their day-to-day struggle to harvest food from the earth. They focus their energy not on the distant political speeches of Roman senators, but on the practical health of their livestock and the seasonal growth of their crops. It is quite a relief to realize that ancient country folks were far more concerned with fixing leaky roofs than worrying about international borders. As the centuries pass silently like clouds drifting across the high peaks, the fertile fields of the Salzkammergut region are still lovingly plowed, sown, and harvested by the very same families. The ancient dirt paths that connect the smaller villages are meticulously maintained, their deep ruts filled with fresh gravel after the heavy spring rains wash over the mountain trails. Everything moves according to the eternal law of the seasons, independent of whoever happens to print the local currency. The deep, glassy lakes of the Alpine territory remain completely unaffected by the rise and fall of these proud, distant civilizations, keeping their ancient secrets safe. Their cold, pristine waters continue to reflect the soft, gray-blue colors of the vast European sky exactly as they did 10,000 quiet years before the first empire was born. The natural world stands as an unchanging, comforting mirror that softly reminds us of the beautiful durability of simple, everyday things. Historical evidence shows that after Rome established provinces north of the Alps, its administrators preserved many existing trade routes instead of replacing them. Ancient Hallstatt pathways, shaped through centuries of travel, became valuable parts of the expanding Roman transportation network. The Romans understood that local miners, merchants, and guides already possessed deep knowledge of the mountains, rivers, and safest passages through this demanding landscape. This practical decision demonstrates how economic connections often endure beyond political change. While governments, borders, and rulers gradually shifted, merchants continued following familiar roads that generations had trusted before them. Trade adapted quietly to new conditions, allowing communities throughout Central Europe to maintain steady exchanges of salt, metal, pottery, food, and other everyday necessities with remarkable continuity. The local salt trade continued with calm determination, adjusting naturally to Roman administration while preserving long-established traditions of commerce. Valuable white salt still traveled across valleys and rivers, reaching distant households where it remained essential for preserving food and supporting daily life. Through changing centuries, these peaceful exchanges quietly reminded people that practical cooperation often outlasts even the greatest empires. You walk along a beautifully preserved section of this ancient dual-purpose highway today, feeling the solid, grounding texture of the old stones beneath your feet. The smooth, weathered surfaces of the rocks have been polished by millions of passing footsteps, iron horseshoes, and heavy wooden wagon wheels over several millennia. In this quiet, sunlit forest sanctuary, the stressful anxieties of your modern weekly routine quickly dissolve into absolute insignificance. The clean mountain air carries the soothing, fresh scent of damp pine needles, wild green moss, and the cold water of the rushing roadside streams. You can feel a profound sense of inner peace washing over your mind as you watch the golden afternoon sunlight filter softly through the massive oak branches. The passage of human time feels incredibly smooth and gentle down here, like a deep river flowing peacefully through a wide valley. Down in the quiet lowlands, the modern descendants of those ancient Hallstatt villagers still go about their daily routines with the very same steady patience as their ancestors. They care for their family gardens, repair their wooden fences, and gather together in local taverns to share stories and laughter at the end of a long workday. They prove that the true heart of human culture is preserved not in grand marble monuments, but in daily habits. You realize that empires are ultimately just temporary ripples on the surface of a deep, ancient ocean of continuous human existence and quiet everyday effort. They arrive with immense noise, build their grand stone palaces, and eventually fade away into the quiet pages of dusty history books, leaving the land behind them. Meanwhile, the local communities simply keep working, living, and loving, maintaining their timeless relationship with the generous earth beneath. As soft violet shadows spread gently across the rolling green hills, a peaceful stillness settles over the ancient landscape. Birds gradually fall silent among the tall branches, while mountain deer quietly emerge to graze along the edges of dark pine forests. Beneath the first evening stars, the valley slowly releases the last warmth of the day, preparing for another calm and restful night. The gentle silence surrounding you invites every wandering thought to slow until it matches the patient rhythm of the mountains themselves. Each quiet breath feels deeper than the last, as the peaceful alpine world softly embraces your attention. The hurried concerns of the present begin to fade, leaving only the comforting awareness of timeless nature and steady, enduring calm. You are reminded that human worries are always temporary, while rivers continue flowing, forests keep growing, and ancient mountains remain quietly watchful over countless generations, patiently witnessing the endless passage of time. History rises and falls like changing seasons, yet the landscape patiently welcomes each new chapter without resistance. That quiet realization brings a lasting sense of balance, reassurance, and peaceful acceptance into your drifting thoughts tonight. Ancient stone roads rest silently beneath the gentle silver light of the moon, holding the quiet memories of generations who once walked their winding paths through the dark. In the beautiful valleys below, warm wooden homes grow completely still as families settle into a deeply peaceful sleep. You feel completely safe and relaxed tonight, carried gently forward by the calm, steady rhythm of continental history, pristine nature, and the enduring resilience of the human spirit. You take one final deep breath of the crisp, clean midnight air before you let yourself drop into a deep, restful sleep. The long history of this eternal landscape has softened into a beautiful, quiet lullaby that guides your mind gently through the dark hours of the night. You are completely at peace, ready to welcome the slow turning changes that tomorrow's morning sun will naturally bring to this land. The modern archaeological excavations taking place deep within the ancient salt mines of Hallstatt feel like exceptionally gentle, whispered conversations carried out between our hurried present day and the quiet prehistoric past. Scientists and researchers step carefully into the cool, dark underground chambers, their soft headlights casting a warm glow over the glittering mineral walls that have stood unchanged for thousands of peaceful years. They move with immense patience, treating the dark earth not as a barrier to be broken, but as a wise old book waiting to be read. Every small scrape of their wooden brushes and plastic trowels reveals a beautifully preserved detail of early human life, buried safely beneath the heavy stone layers. There is absolutely no rush in this underground sanctuary. Every grain of salt is examined with the utmost respect and care by the dedicated research teams. It is a wonderful feeling to realize that these modern scholars are spending their days playing in the world's oldest sandbox. As the delicate layers of dark mineral soil are slowly lifted away, the incredible preserving power of the natural salt environment is revealed once again to the modern world. Archaeologists frequently uncover ancient wooden tools, heavy leather backpacks, sturdy woven hemp ropes, and intact pieces of clothing that look remarkably fresh and whole. These organic materials, which usually turn to dust within a few years elsewhere, have been perfectly mummified by the mineral walls for nearly 3 millennia. You can actually see the precise hand-stitched seams on a piece of an ancient worker's thick leather shoe, showing exactly how they protected their feet from the cold stones. The intricate checkered patterns of their woven wool jackets still hold their deep, earthy colors, revealing a highly sophisticated taste in prehistoric Alpine fashion. It seems that loving a comfortable, well-made pair of outdoor shoes is a timeless human characteristic that completely unites us across the centuries. By studying these humble, everyday objects layer by layer, modern archaeology can beautifully reconstruct the ordinary lives of the ordinary people who lived here over 25 centuries ago. We can learn exactly what they ate for their midday meals, how many hours they worked in the dark shafts, and how they cared for their families. It is a deeply moving form of historical time travel that focuses on the quiet beauty of normal human routine. This careful scientific work proves that history is not just a loud record of grand political events, but a beautiful tapestry woven from millions of small, daily actions. The ancient miners were not mysterious figures from a fantasy legend. They were real people who laughed at jokes, felt tired after work, and loved their children. This profound realization brings a wonderful sense of emotional warmth and grounding comfort to your calm thoughts tonight. You walk through the silent rooms of the local Hallstatt Museum, where these extraordinary artifacts are now safely housed under the soft, protective glow of modern display lights. The ancient leather backpacks, the worn bronze picks, and the delicate pieces of textile rest quietly behind clear sheets of glass, completely safe from the passage of time. They seem to be resting peacefully after their long, dark slumber inside the heart of the mountain. The pristine air inside the museum galleries remains perfectly still, carrying the faint fragrance of aged timber, preserved leather, dry mineral salt, and cool stone. As you quietly wander through the softly lit rooms, your breathing naturally becomes slower with every gentle step. Looking at these carefully preserved objects, you feel deeply connected to generations long past, while the hurried rhythm of modern life gradually fades into the peaceful silence surrounding this remarkable collection. Every object displayed before you serves as a quiet messenger from another age, patiently preserving the memory of the people who once shaped and used it. Nothing here asks for attention through bright lights or loud distractions. Instead, each artifact rests with quiet dignity, inviting thoughtful observation and gentle reflection. As you linger a little longer, a deep appreciation grows for the remarkable skill, patience, and resilience of the prehistoric craftsmen who created them. As the quiet evening hours settle gently over the museum, the last visitors slowly make their way toward the exit, leaving the historic galleries wrapped in soft twilight once again. Ancient wooden tools, leather shoes, woven baskets, and weathered mining equipment remain peacefully in their places, as though they have grown completely accustomed to waiting through countless centuries. Preserved by salt and time, they continue protecting the quiet memories of the mountain for generations yet to come. You pause beside the wide museum window and quietly gaze toward the great mountain rising beneath the deep indigo sky. High along its silent slopes, the ancient mine entrances disappear beneath drifting ribbons of pale evening mist, while the calm lake below reflects the first quiet stars. The entire landscape seems peacefully asleep, quietly safeguarding thousands of years of human memories within the brilliant white salt resting deep beneath the ancient mountain stone. Within the peaceful museum galleries, every carefully preserved artifact seems perfectly content to rest without hurry or expectation. Wooden ladders, leather shoes, woven baskets, bronze tools, and simple household objects remain exactly where thoughtful conservators have placed them. Although their daily purpose ended many centuries ago, they continue quietly sharing stories of patient labor, skilled craftsmanship, and ordinary families whose lives unfolded gently beneath the enduring presence of the ancient salt mountain. The deep stillness surrounding you gradually slows every wandering thought until your breathing settles into the calm, steady rhythm of the mountains themselves. You begin to understand that every individual life becomes one small thread woven into a much greater human story, stretching across thousands of years. That quiet realization gently eases the weight of modern worries, replacing them with a lasting sense of peace, balance, and quiet belonging. Outside, the quiet village gradually settles beneath the gentle silver glow of the rising moon, while warm lights fade softly behind wooden windows one by one. Families rest peacefully within their homes as cool night air drifts through the surrounding pine forests and across the calm lakeshore. High above, the ancient mountain stands in complete silence, patiently guarding the hidden salt that has preserved countless stories, memories, and generations through the passing centuries. You take one final, slow breath of the cool midnight air before gently allowing yourself to surrender to peaceful rest. The long journey through Hallstatt now feels like a quiet lullaby carried across the still waters beneath a sky filled with countless stars. Surrounded by timeless mountains, deep silence, and the endless rhythm of history, your thoughts grow softer with every breath, drifting peacefully into calm, restorative, and deeply comforting sleep. Across the broad landscapes of Central Europe, centuries reveal a quiet pattern of cultures gently succeeding one another upon the same fertile ground. Hallstatt communities gradually gave way to Celtic societies, Roman provinces, and later nations, while the land itself remained unchanged. Nature continued its steady cycles of growth, renewal, and quiet transformation beyond the changing names of history. For families living in these alpine valleys, the passing of generations became a familiar rhythm woven into everyday life. Winter snow melted into spring rivers, harvests returned with every season, and each community quietly built upon the foundations left by those before them. The landscape gently absorbed the passing centuries, allowing memory and renewal to exist side by side. Anthropological research suggests that cultural memory survives through everyday traditions as much as written history. Seasonal farming customs, regional songs, local stories, and ancient place names quietly preserve the identity of mountain communities across generations. Each familiar name spoken aloud becomes a gentle echo from the distant past, carried forward through ordinary daily life. The landscape itself quietly preserves countless traces of earlier generations. Winding paths, river crossings, and mountain passes continue guiding travelers much as they did thousands of years ago. Around evening fires, parents patiently shared stories, customs, and language with their children, allowing the living spirit of the community to endure through peaceful continuity rather than written records alone. Modern transportation historians have found that many highways and railway lines across Central Europe closely follow prehistoric travel corridors. Long before engineered roads existed, Stone Age and Iron Age travelers discovered the gentlest routes through rivers, valleys, and mountain passes. Their remarkable understanding of the landscape continued guiding movement across Europe for thousands of years afterward. This remarkable continuity means that when you drive through a modern Alpine tunnel, you are traveling along the exact same path chosen by an ancient Hallstatt salt merchant. The heavy wooden wagons of the past have simply been replaced by quiet electric vehicles, but the human journey remains completely unchanged in its core purpose. It is quite comforting to think that our high-tech navigation systems are just confirming the ancient wisdom of barefoot travelers. You stand at a high scenic viewpoint overlooking the grand Hallstatt Valley as the long summer afternoon slowly transitions into a soft, beautiful golden twilight. The intense rush of the modern working world feels incredibly distant from this high vantage point, separated from you by massive layers of clean mountain air and silent stone. In this majestic sanctuary, the heavy, stressful anxieties of your modern weekly routine quickly dissolve into absolute peace. The pristine atmosphere up here is remarkably clean, carrying the soothing, fresh scent of wild mountain pine, damp green moss, and sweet meadow grass. You can feel your body relaxing completely as you watch the warm silver moonlight begin to mingle softly with the fading orange glow of the setting sun. Human history flows gently here, like a quiet river patiently carving its timeless path through ancient stone. Down in the valley below, the dark, polished surface of the lake acts like a giant, peaceful mirror that captures the slow turning of the sky. The ancient mountains stand like wise, quiet guardians around the water, keeping the noisy distractions of the present day far away from this historic cradle of European culture. The entire scene feels perfectly balanced, a timeless masterpiece of absolute stillness that invites deep, restful thoughts. You realize that time does not destroy the footsteps of the past. It simply softens their sharp edges, blending them beautifully into the natural texture of the earth. The struggles, triumphs, and daily routines of the ancient innovators are not lost to us. They are woven securely into the very scenery we enjoy. This profound continuity brings a wonderful sense of grounding comfort and calm relaxation to your mind tonight. As the beautiful, long twilight of the Alpine region continues to stretch lazily across the horizon, a gentle wind begins to move softly over the water. This light breeze brushes across the smooth surface of the lake, creating tiny, shimmering ripples that catch the very last rays of the warm evening light. The soft movement looks like the mountain itself is taking a deep, satisfied breath at the end of a historic era. The gentle rustle of the lakeside reeds blends perfectly with the distant, soothing sound of a solitary church bell echoing softly from the village square. The world is transitioning into a state of beautiful, undisturbed evening rest, inviting your own wandering thoughts to settle down completely for the night. Everything around you is perfectly safe, secure, and nestled deeply within the enduring embrace of this ancient European valley. The old paths that wind through the dark pine forests are slowly disappearing into the deep, velvety shadows of the approaching night, hiding their secrets from the world. The giant trees stand like old, wise friends, keeping a protective watch over the historic ground where so many generations have walked, loved, and lived. You feel entirely safe, your mind floating effortlessly on the calm, steady current of this timeless story. The memory of the ancient innovators lives on in the very shape of these hills, a quiet, lasting legacy of a people who lived in harmony with nature. They remind us that the grandest human empires will eventually fade away, but the simple beauty of a quiet evening by the water will always remain. This comforting thought allows your remaining daily worries to dissolve completely into the fresh mountain air. The stars begin to appear one by one in the deep indigo dome of the sky, casting their brilliant tiny lights over the sleeping alpine landscape below. The families in the village rest securely inside their comfortable homes, their slow, steady breathing matching the patient, natural rhythm of the resting earth. You feel completely relaxed, your mind fully prepared to welcome the deep, peaceful slumber that waits in the darkness. The slow movement of the evening wind continues to wrap the entire valley in a thick, protective blanket of absolute silence and profound, lasting peace. There are no deadlines to meet down here, no urgent messages to answer, and absolutely no reason to hurry through your relaxing thoughts. You are completely connected to the long, quiet chain of human history that grounds this magnificent land. The dark lake rests in perfect stillness, reflecting the quiet stars above, while the ancient spirit of Hallstatt lingers gently within the mountain and the earth beneath your feet. You take one final deep breath of the cool midnight air, allowing the timeless landscape to become a peaceful lullaby as your thoughts grow lighter, your heart grows calmer, and you drift gently into deep restorative sleep. The long, beautiful journey across the centuries now comes to a gentle rest, returning your mind to the immense, patient rhythm of deep geological time. From this broad cosmic perspective, the millions of years that shaped the Alpine valleys feel like nothing more than a single, slow breath taken by our ancient Earth. The grand rise and fall of human kingdoms become beautifully quiet, dissolving into the vast silent history of the cold mountain stone. You feel a profound sense of inner security as you realize how small and temporary our modern daily stresses truly are when measured against the mountains. The steep limestone peaks have stood as silent, unyielding witnesses to the passage of ice ages, tectonic shifts, and the slow drying of ancient prehistoric seas. They do not worry about the rapid ticking of human clocks, remaining perfectly anchored in their eternal, peaceful slumber. Every single human civilization, from the innovative Hallstatt culture to our advanced modern digital society, is ultimately just a remarkably thin layer of sediment on the earth. We build our temporary wooden villages, clear our small farming fields, and engrave our temporary names onto the smooth surfaces of the timeless rock faces. Yet the ancient planet quietly continues its grand journey through space, gently absorbing our stories back into its rich historic soil. This humbling realization brings an incredible, soothing sense of absolute peace to your tired mind at the end of this long evening. You are reminded that you do not need to carry the heavy weight of the entire world on your individual shoulders tonight. Like the ancient miners who laid down their heavy tools at dusk, you are fully permitted to let go of your lingering responsibilities. The grand continental trade routes, the beautifully crafted bronze vessels, and the sharp iron plows have all completed their practical historical work across Europe. They have left behind a rich, peaceful legacy of human connection that continues to sustain the quiet life of the Alpine valleys below. The ancient past has wrapped itself securely in a thick blanket of rich green moss, resting contentedly in the dark. It is a beautiful, comforting truth that the true heart of this magnificent landscape has never changed at all throughout the long turning of history. The same pure mountain water still flows through the hidden creeks, and the same ancient wind whispers softly through the high forest leaves. You are part of this beautiful, enduring continuity, a welcome guest, resting safely within the ancient home of human civilization. A spectacular, velvety black sky now blankets the entire Hallstatt region, completely erasing the clear boundaries between the massive mountains and the deep water. The vast lake below holds the brilliant, twinkling reflections of 1,000 distant stars on its perfectly flat, mirror-like surface without making a single sound. The cosmic view looks like a giant open book of starlight, inviting your wandering thoughts to dissolve into the absolute quiet. The crisp midnight air is incredibly fresh and clean, carrying the soothing scent of damp pine wood, wild dark soil, and cold mineral stone. You can hear the very small, gentle voice of the night wind as it slips softly through the high branches of the pine trees. It sounds like a tender, whispered lullaby sung by the mountain itself, guiding the entire valley into a state of deep sleep. Deep within the dark, silent chambers of the ancient salt mountain, the gentle sound of groundwater droplets continues falling steadily onto cool stone without interruption. For more than 7,000 years of continuous human activity, these quiet mineral drops have patiently measured the passing of countless generations with their steady rhythm. Their soft, enduring heartbeat fills every hidden tunnel with lasting stillness, surrounding the underground world with an atmosphere of timeless peace, comfort, and quiet reflection. The small village, resting beside the peaceful lake, has now fallen into complete silence, its warm hearth fires slowly fading into soft gray ash beneath the quiet night sky. Families sleep deeply inside their sturdy timber homes, while their calm breathing follows the patient rhythm of the resting earth itself. Surrounded by ancient forests, silent mountains, and still water, everything feels perfectly safe, gently protected, and peacefully embraced by the enduring tranquility of this timeless European landscape. The fascinating story of the Iron Age innovators gently fades away into the grand, majestic stillness of the pristine alpine nature that surrounds you. The loud worries, the urgent deadlines, and the digital notifications of your modern daily routine have completely lost their power over your mind. You are entirely free to rest, your thoughts floating as effortlessly as a feather drifting on a calm evening breeze. A soft, weightless darkness fills the entire room where you rest, shielding your mind completely from any noisy distractions of the outside world. Your body feels beautifully heavy, deeply relaxed, and perfectly aligned with the steady, grounding presence of the ancient mountain soil beneath you. The passage of time down here is a gentle friend that guides you step by step toward a peaceful dream. The gentle rhythm of your own breathing naturally slows down, becoming beautifully synchronized with the slow, ancient heartbeat of the resting planet. You can feel a warm, protective wave of total tranquility washing over your tired limbs, releasing any remaining tension from your long day. You are fully anchored in this magnificent, timeless space where the eternal quiet of the earth remains completely unbroken. The winding trade paths, ancient hilltop fortresses, and deep salt mines now fade gently into the soft silver shadows of the quiet night. Their stories rest peacefully beneath the mountains, while only the calm rhythm of the natural world remains. Surrounded by silent forests, still waters, and enduring stone, you feel completely safe, deeply comforted, and quietly connected to the long, unbroken chain of human memory stretching across countless generations. The last tiny ripples upon the lake have disappeared, leaving a flawless surface of dark glass reflecting the quiet stars above. Even the soft whispers of the night breeze gradually become fainter until they almost disappear into complete silence. Wrapped in perfect stillness, the landscape patiently waits for the distant return of morning. While your breathing grows slower, your thoughts become lighter, and peaceful sleep gently carries you onward. You let your eyes close completely, allowing your remaining thoughts to drift away into the soft, welcoming expanse of a deep, dreamless slumber. The ancient spirit of the Hallstatt culture continues to rest quietly in the earth, a silent blessing of peace across the centuries. You are ready to sleep, fully secure within the eternal quiet that has guarded this magnificent land since the beginning. The script comes to a close. Thank you all for listening.